Hey guys, Cameron here with Emerson Property Management. Every week I bring you tools, tactics, strategies, lessons I've learned, things that helped me build up a sizable rental portfolio in about 2 years and now manage that portfolio. Excuse me, y'all. Been a little sick, got a little under the weather here as we go into the fall. Little nose cold, everything's good. Still trucking along. Today, guys, I want to talk about tenant screening. Again, one of the most important things you can do in your property management business, whether you're hiring a manager or you're doing it yourself, somebody's doing tenant screening. It is besides setting rent right and making the look good, this can be one of the most important things. Obviously, if you let a pipe burst and just ruin your whole property, that would be pretty bad. But if you get a good tenant in the property, they will take care of it. They will let you know when leaks happen. They will try to mitigate any issues that come up. So getting a good tenant in the property is an integral piece of the leasing and really overall wealth strategy on why you're buying rental property. So when you buy a rental property and you're going to do tenant screening, something that I've learned, I'm just going to talk about a little story here, guys, on something that I want you to take heed to and warning of, is self-employed individuals. Now, I am self-employed. I left the workforce in 2020 as a W-2 employee, but self-employed people are difficult to screen. So what does that mean? Again, you guys can get on our website and look emersonpropertymanagement.com, and you guys can see our qualifications on there and exactly what we do to screen W-2 employees and self-employed individuals. And I can tell you that W-2 employees are very straightforward. They get paid every week, 2 weeks, bi-monthly, whatever it is, monthly, whatever the pay cycle is. So you can gather their pay stubs and say, okay, perfect, boom, 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 boom. You make, $3,000 a month. You're trying to rent a $1,000 a month unit. Hey, what do you know? Our qualification is 3 times monthly rent. You're good to go. You're approved. A self-employed person is not as easy. Why is that? Well, self-employed people can kind of dictate their income, right? 1 month they could work really hard and make a bunch of money, and another month they can say, hey, I'm kind of taking off. I'm going to hang out with the fam. I don't really want to do much, and their income could go down. Their income kind of goes like this, almost like salespeople, right? They're not, or anybody on commission, they're not like that smooth, nice line that a lot of banks or even us as we screen tenants, we want to make sure people can pay. So we like to see that consistency. We love to see that. When you see this, you're worried about those troughs. Are they going to be able to pay rent? Are they going to have the prudence that when their income is high to set a little money aside so they can pay rent? And I can tell you in 2 instances that we have self-employed people living in properties, and nothing against self-employed people, but we had a guy who drove for Uber, and he has become, we filed an eviction on him probably 7 or 8 times. We've never gone through completion because he always catches up, but he is constantly late. He probably pays a whole extra month a year in just late fees. So that might be some people's strategy. I know some people that sell properties, owner finance, and they don't want the people to be able to afford it because they want to foreclose on it. We don't do that kind of stuff. And the same thing, if we're putting a tenant in, I do not want to collect late fees. I don't care about the $25, $50 late fee. I want you to pay rent on time. It's so much more of a pain in the rear when people don't pay. So when you're doing that, when you're doing your screening, or if you're advising your agent or property management company, understand what their process is for qualifying and screening self-employed people. We gather 2 months of bank statements, so we see what their bank account has done for 2 months, and then we gather 2 years of tax returns. So, obviously COVID had a bunch of people's income all over the place and whatnot, but when you see that, you can see that they have some consistent money coming in. You can see their bank statements of where they get paid $2,500 a week or $2,000 a week or whatever it is. And then you can see their tax returns that show all what's the word I'm looking for? Verifiable income. We have a lot of people say, oh, I get paid cash or I do some stuff under the table. We can't take any income that's not verifiable. That person might make $1,000 a day in cash from whatever they're doing. We cannot take that and consider that a portion of your income when you're comparing it for if you qualify for the property. We can only use verifiable income. So understand that process, guys. I don't want y'all to get into a situation where somebody looks like they made some good money and self-employed, but they really don't. Their income goes like this and they can't afford, they just flat out can't afford it. They might make $20,000 a year. Their top line might be $100,000 or God knows what it is. And they might have some cash that they do, then a little side hustle here and there, but you know, you don't want to put somebody in a precarious situation where they can't afford rent. And trust me, you do not want to go through eviction processes and notice vacates and all that crap if you don't have to. It will kill cash flow. Vacancy kills cash flow. If you guys haven't seen that video, watch that. It's very important. The other thing I would say is there was another individual who was a contractor, self-employed, and we've had a lot of issues with him and his family as well. Filed evictions on them almost every month. Again, when you're looking through this and thinking through this, we put them in during COVID. And obviously they got COVID at some point, could not work. There was only one breadwinner for the house. So that kind of had them, so they say, had them behind, and then it's been perpetually that way ever since. And it's hard for them to catch up. So also think about when you're dealing with self-employed folks, or really W-2 employees as well. What's the risk that they're going to lose their job? So if you have, you know, a NASA engineer that makes $200,000 a year that wants to rent your property, awesome, man, that seems great. Well, maybe there are talks that we're going to shut down some parts of NASA's operation or God knows what. Okay, they just cut a bunch of government funding. Okay, that guy could lose his job immediately. Now what is he going to do? What is he qualified for? So be thinking about that. It's not as, you know, imperative with W-2, especially W-2 folks at larger companies. It's a little bit more stable. But self-employed people, make sure you understand what they do. You know, if they're a massage therapist during COVID and they're 1099 and they, you know, they're self-employed, how is that going to work? If you think COVID's not over, oil and gas, you know, folks, when oil's $100 a barrel, nobody talks about anything. They make money. Everything's great. If oil crashes, what are these people going to do? If you have one person that's a sole breadwinner for the whole family and they're a petroleum engineer, how are they going to be able to pay the rent? Whereas if you have a dual income house, maybe somebody works medical, you know, the husband or wife works oil, you have a little bit more stability. So just be thinking about that stuff when you guys are placing tenants. It's not just check. Tenant screening is a little bit more of an art than a science, but I do want to make you all aware, self-employed people, make sure you take a look, because me personally, we have found that that's the majority of evictions we have filed outside the tenants we did not place. From the tenants that we have placed have been related to self-employed people. So make sure you are screen that, go through a little bit more scrutiny and think through those individuals. Okay, y'all, I hope that was helpful. If it was, let me know. If it wasn't, let me know, and I'll see y'all next week.